Alright, what's up folks? Rich Fantastic with you, giving you the recap of some of the early games for now week 11 that are going final. We have some finishing up, some gone to overtime. A good week thus far of games. Houston Texans moved to 4-6 with a 31-21 victory over the Cardinals. Cardinals dropped to 4-6. Blaine Gabbert, 22 of 34, 257 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Adrian Peterson, not one of his good games, 14 carries, 26 yards, 1.9. Blaine Gabbert, 3 of 13, 4.3 per rush. The team, 18 of 48, 2.7 yards per rush. Larry Fitzgerald, 9 receptions, 91 yards, 1 touchdown. Ricky Seals-Jones, 3 of 54, 2 touchdowns. DJ Foster, 2 of 26. Jaron Brown, 1 of 22 receiving. Budda Baker recovered a fumble. Blaine Gabbert fumbled and recovered a fumble. 1 sack. It was Budda Baker. Patrick Peterson had an interception. Kerwin Williams, 2 kick returns, 34 yards. Britton Golden, 1 of 26. Kerwin Williams, 2 punt returns, 7 yards. Phil Dawson did not attempt a field goal for the Houston Texans. Tom Savage, 22 of 32, 230 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Donta Foreman, 10 carries, 65 yards, 2 touchdowns, 6.5 per rush. Lamar Miller, 22 of 61, 2.8 yards per rush. The team, 34 of 134, 3.9 yards per rush. So big difference in the running games for both teams. DeAndre Hopkins, top receiver, 4 of 76, 1 touchdown. Bruce Ellington, 6 of 63. Lamar Miller, 4 of 22, the other touchdown. Tom Savage lost a fumble. Lamar Miller fumbled and recovered. Bruce Ellington fumbled once, recovered 2. Donta Foreman had a fumble. It was not lost. 2 sacks. Both Jadeveon Clowney, he's quietly putting together a good year. Andre Hall and Eddie Pleasant had interceptions. Chris Thompson, a 20-yard kick return. Donta Foreman, a 12-yard kick return. Bruce Ellington, 3 punt returns for 9 yards. Kymene Fairbairn made his only field goal. So Houston got the win. This is one of the years it doesn't look like the AFC South. You could get in at 8-8 or 9-7. Jacksonville won as well today. We'll do their recap in a moment. But certainly, even with the victories at this point, they're just so injured that they're going to have their troubles. Arizona, you could probably say their season ended. They'd been up and down trying to get back to 500, but at this point, this is a killer loss. They're 4-6, and they've just not shown enough consistency to give you any reason to suspect that they're going to go on any sort of run that could allow them to get into the playoffs. They were playing with a third-string quarterback today. Blaine Gabbert was okay, probably what you would expect from a third-stringer. But in the end, it's a loss for the Cardinals. Jacksonville getting the 19-7 victory over the Cleveland Browns. They did not have a letdown. They were sloppy, but Cleveland is just that bad. Blake Bortles, 17 of 30, 154 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Jacksonville is now 7-3. Cleveland drops to 0-10. Leonard Fournette, 28 carries, 111 yards, 4 yards per rush. TJ Yeldon, 5 of 15, 3 yards per rush. Chris Ivory, 6 of 6. The team, 44 of 139, 3.2 yards per rush. So they ran the ball a lot. It wasn't a blowout, and the 3.2 is not that effective. Marquise Lee, but they were effective with Leonard Fournette, so you give them some mitigation there. Marquise Lee, top receiver, 5 of 45. Dede Westbrook, 3 of 35. Mercedes Lewis, 2 of 26. He had the touchdown. Telvin Smith, Jared Wilson, Dante Fowler Jr. both recovered fumbles. Dante Fowler Jr. returned his for a touchdown. Blake Bortles had the turnover bug today. 2 fumbles, lost one of them, recovered the other. TJ Yeldon fumbled, it was not lost. Jaden Mickens fumbled and recovered a fumble. A lot of fumbles with the Jaguars. Dede Westbrook fumbled and it was not recovered. Keelan Cole recovered a fumble. Yannick Noguchi had 2.5 sacks. Calais Campbell had a half sack. Malik Jackson and Dante Fowler both had the other sacks for 5 total. Telvin Smith, AJ Bowie both had interceptions. No kick returns. Jaden Mickens, 4 punt returns, 38 yards. Josh Lambo, 2 for 3 in his field goals. For the Browns, DeShone Kizer did get the start. 16 of 32, 179 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. DeShone Kizer was the top rusher, 5 of 22. Isaiah Crowell, 11 of 18. That's 4.4, 1.6 per rush. 18 of 50, 2.8 yards per rush. So you can see how big of a difference there was in the running games between the two teams. Corey Coleman, 6 receptions, 80 yards. Duke Johnson Jr., 4 of 56, 1 touchdown. Ricardo Lewis, 1 of 15. David Njoku, 1 of 13. Myles Garrett recovered a fumble. DeShone Kizer fumbled 3 times, lost 2 of them, recovered the other. You just can't keep playing this guy. Jabril Peppers fumbled twice, lost 1 of them. 2 sacks. Christian Kirksey and Jermaine Burgess Jr. No interceptions. Matthew Days, 2 kick returns, 62 yards. Danny Vitale, 1 of 18. Nate Orchard, 1 of 9. Jabril Peppers, 4 punt returns, for 9 yards. Zane Gonzalez, no field goals made or attempted. So Jacksonville, they were sloppy, but they found a way to get the victory. You should be able to find a way to get a victory against Cleveland. As for the Browns, look, there's not much we can say about them. They are just a poor team. Jacksonville, you'd like to see more running, but again, Fournette was very good. It was really the other guys. He was 28 for 111. The other guys were 21 or 11 of 21, 4 of 4. That's 15 carries for 25 yards, or 16 for 28, so that's where the numbers come down. Detroit getting the victory over the Chicago Bears. Basically what I thought. It was a game effort by Chicago, but Detroit comes away with the victory. They are now 6-4. Chicago drops to 3-7. Matt Stafford, 21 of 31, 299 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Matt Stafford has to be an MVP consideration. He carries this team week in, week out. Theo Riddick, 9 carries, 35 yards, 3.9 yards per rush. Amir Abdullah, 11 of 22. The team, 24 of 65, 2.7 yards per rush. Marvin Jones Jr., 4 of 85, receiving 1 touchdown. TJ Jones, 4 of 55. Kenny Golladay, 2 of 52. Eric Ebron, 4 of 41. Amir Abdullah, 2 of 13. He had the other touchdown. DJ Hayden recovered a fumble. Matt Stafford lost a fumble. Janelle Agnew fumbled and recovered. The team had 1 sack. It was split between Jeremiah Ledbetter and Cornelius Washington. No interceptions. Jamal Agnew, 4 kick returns, 74 yards. Amir Abdullah, 1 of 15. Jamal Agnew, 3 punt returns, 23 yards. 7.7 per punt return isn't bad. Matt Prater made both of his field goals. For the Bears, Mitchell Trubisky, 18 of 30, 179 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. So one of his, I don't want to say better games, but certainly more of a game where they opened it up for him. Jordan Howard, 15 carries, 125 yards, 8.3 per rush, 1 touchdown. Mitchell Trubisky, 6 of 53, 8.8 per rush. Tariq Cohen, 9 of 44, 4.9 yards per rush, 1 touchdown. 30 carries, 222 yards, 7.4 yards per rush, and 2 touchdowns, and you still lost. Dontrell Inman, 3 receptions, 43 yards. Adam Shaheen, 4 of 41 with the touchdown. Kendall Wright, 2 of 25. Akeem Hicks recovered a fumble. Mitchell Trubisky lost a fumble. 3 sacks, Sherrick McManus, Mitch Unrein, and Christian Jones. No interceptions. Tariq Cohen, 5 kick returns, 120 yards, 24 yards per return. He had a longest of 30, so pretty good. 2 punt returns for 12 yards for Cohen. 6 yards per return, longest of 11. Not very good. Connor Barth, 1 for 2 in his field goals. He missed a chance to tie at the end, was really off with it. For Detroit, they've now won 3 straight. They're still right in the thick of things. And maybe not so much in the division, but certainly in the wild card. Matt Stafford is continuing to carry this team, as evident again by a poor rushing performance. For Chicago, let's see if they open Mitchell Trubisky up a little more. They've certainly developed that running game nicely, and that's something that they can continue to build on moving forward as they bring Trubisky along. You can kind of baby him when you're running the ball that effectively. Baltimore 23-0 over the Green Bay Packers. Baltimore is now 5-5. Green Bay drops to 5-5. Joe Flacco, 22 of 28, 183 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Alex Collins, 20 of 49, running 2.5 per rush, 1 touchdown. Javaris Allen, 3 of 8, 2.7. The team 26 of 58, 2.2 yards per rush. Not very good, especially considering you won a game 23-0. Mike Wallace, 4 receptions, 56 yards, 1 touchdown. Jeremy Maclin, 4 of 34. Benjamin Watson, 1 of 33. C.J. Mosley, Patrick Onwuasor recovered fumbles. Ryan Jensen fumbled, and it was not lost. Alex Collins recovered a fumble. The team had 6 sacks. Brian Bulaga out. We thought this would be a case. Terrell Suggs had 2. Will Henry had 2. Willie Henry, Matthew Judon also had 2. So 3 guys combined for 6 sacks. Marlon Humphrey, Eric Weddle, and Jimmy Smith all had interceptions. Chris Moore, a 35-yard kick return. Michael Campanaro, 28-yard punt return. So the special teams were effective for the Baltimore Ravens. Justin Tucker, 3 for 3 in his field goals. For the Green Bay Packers, Brett Hundley, 21 of 36, 239 yards, no touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Jamal Williams, 18 carries, 57 yards, 3.2 yards per rush. Brett Hundley, 3 of 19, 6.3 per rush. 25 of 75, 3 yards per rush even for the Packers. Devontae Adams, 8 receptions, 126 yards. Jamal Williams, 4 of 38. Randall Cobb, 3 of 34. Jordy Nelson, 2 of 24. Devontae Mays fumbled twice, lost one of them. Brett Hundley lost a fumble. Geronimo Allison fumbled, it was not lost. It's not showing the defensive statistics, so we won't even go into that. They had no interceptions. Trevor Davis, 2 Kick returns 48 yards, longest of 30, average of 24. So decent, but the longest of 30 mitigates it a bit. Trevor Davis, a punt return of 9 yards. Geronimo Allison on punt return for no yards. No field goals, obviously. And like we said, the defensive stats are not coming up. So for Baltimore, look, they needed to have this victory to keep whatever playoff hopes they want relatively alive. I mean, they lost. I guess they're technically not eliminated, but they're still, or you're in dangerous time at that point. Green Bay, Brett Hundley had a terrible game. I was expecting it. He was just turning the ball over too much. They asked a lot out of him. They didn't have much of a running game without Ty Montgomery and Aaron Jones, and it showed themselves in this one. Baltimore, like we said, getting the victory. They have got to play better or get better play from Joe Flacco. All right, we'll be back in just a little bit to finish up the early games of Week 11 of the NFL season. Stay tuned.